Hey guys, what's going on? Today in Epic 7, we're going to be talking about the top 10 free-to-play heroes. Because of that, this list will not include any 5 stars at all, as well as no 4-star dark or light heroes, as they are probably about as hard to get as a 5-star non-dark or light hero. This is so that, even for those that don't invest heavily into the gacha system, this list should include some heroes you own, or can own rather easily. And as always, when I do lists like this, it should be noted that it's far from an end-all be-all type of thing, so do take it with a grain of salt. I'll be discussing the hero itself, its skill set, recommended artifacts, as well as recommended gear sets. Also, I want to get this out of the way right off the bat. I don't know how to pronounce most of these heroes and artifact names, so instead of repeating them in different ways a few times and saying, whatever, leave me alone, I'll apologize now for future reference and call them how I see them. And lastly, please keep in mind this is a very general list, so while someone like Cherie is amazing in some content, she won't be on this list since we're looking at the best general heroes that can be viable everywhere, or almost everywhere. But yeah. Without further ado, let's get into it. Up at number 10, we have Cherie. Cherie is a fire-type 4-star ranger. His main role is to give your team combat readiness with his second skill. The main problem with Cherie is that he is quite hard to build, requiring 100% crit rate for his skill 2 to activate consistently. This obviously means he will require a lot of crit in the substats of his gear, as well as a crit set. Speed is also quite important for Cherie, so a speed set as well as speed substats should be your second priority. As far as artifacts are concerned, Rosa Hargana is easily the best for him as it synergizes really well with his role, allowing even more S2 procs and more combat readiness. Sasha Ethanis is also a decent placeholder if you don't have Rosa Hargana. Up at number 9 we have Requiem Roar, a 3-star dark soul weaver. She has a very interesting second skill which gives your whole team lifesteal, which means that up to 10% of the damage your allies do gets converted into health for them. Her first skill is pretty typical of a soul weaver, but still a nice 50% chance to decrease the enemy's attack is always welcome on a basic skill. And finally, her third skill is great too. High chance for a 2-turn defense down as well as increasing your whole team's combat readiness. Her skill set is pure support with a lot of utility. As far as gear is concerned, if you want her to be full support, you should build her tanky with HP and defense sets, and substats with some speed thrown in. As a 3-star, she'll be a bit squishy without help from substats, but of course, how you build her is up to you. As for artifacts, since she is a soul weaver, there are a lot of good options. Celestine is best in slot for most soul weavers, if not all, so if you do have it, use it. Healing with every basic attack is overpowered. Besides that, you could go with Shimadra's staff, which will increase the effectiveness of her second skill, or Water's Origin if you happen to build her more on the offensive side. Since Requiem Roar is mainly a support character, she's quite viable in all content, and how she does will more depend on the rest of your team. Up at number 8 we have Armin, a 4-star Earth Knight, and her main role is to act as your tank, with some healing ability as well. Her skill set includes a chance to stun with her basic skill, a chance to poison and decrease hit chance with her second skill, but her main utility comes from her third skill, providing not only a 3-turn barrier, but also healing based on the max HP of the target. The cool thing about that is not only can you get it from a 5-turn cooldown to a 4-turn cooldown via skill enhance, but you can also reduce its cooldown 2 more turns if you're willing to burn 10 souls on it. Overall, a very solid tank that I actually thought about leaving out due to who the number 1 spot belongs to, but decided to leave her in. Obviously, you want to build her with tanky sets like HP and defense as she is a tank. As for artifacts, you can never go wrong with Aureus for a tank, as it just emphasizes their role. But if you don't have that, even the 3-star prophetic candlestick works well as she should be getting hit the most. Up at number 7 we have Achates, a 4-star fire soul weaver whose role is typical for a soul weaver. Healing. She can, like many soul weavers, decrease an enemy's attack with her basic skill. Her second skill is a single target heal, but it also provides invincibility for a turn, meaning the hero she heals will not take any damage until after they use a turn. Her third skill is where she really shines though. It's basically Destina's third skill with 1 less turn of cooldown, healing all allies and removing all debuffs from them. Really a great healing skill. Since, like Destina, she heals based on her own HP, stacking as much HP as possible is best for her. 3 HP sets with as many HP substats and HP main stats on boots and accessories would be preferable. As for artifacts, there are many good ones for her, including Magahara's Tome, 2 of her skills are non-attack, so she can increase her combat readiness often. If you're in need of extra healing though, Rod of Amaryllis, Shimadra's Staff, and Celestine are good options too. Up at number 6 we have Angelica, another Soul Weaver but of the Ice type this time. She's actually very similar to Achates in that she also has 2 healing skills. She heals based on her own max HP and can provide defensive buffs. The main difference comes in the details. Instead of the attack reduction on S1, we have a low chance to stun the target. Angelica's S2 is quite a bit nicer than Achates in my opinion though, since it can heal up to 2 targets instead of 1, and it's on a 2-turn cooldown instead of 3. There are no buffs here though. Her 3rd skill also provides AoE healing to the whole team, but it won't remove debuffs. Instead, it will buff your team with Immune, which will prevent debuffs. Unfortunately, this buff can be removed in some cases. In addition to that, however, you also get a barrier. Again, with Angelica, you want as much HP as possible on her gear, substats, and main stats. Same artifact choices as well. Magahara's Tome, Rod of Amaryllis, Shimadra's Staff, and Celestine are good options for her as well. Up at number 5 we have Phyllis, a 3-star Dark Knight, and while she may not look like it, she may well be the tankiest hero in the game once you get that 2nd skill stacking up and skill enhanced. Her 1st skill is quite tank-like as well, providing a decent chance at provoking the enemy she hits, forcing them to attack her, and her 3rd skill provides a barrier to your team, and its strength depends on her defense. Skillset wise, she's one of the truest knights there are, just being a straight up wall. She may be quite weak to defense penetrating skills however, so while she does want as much defense as possible, throwing an HP set in there would make her overall safer. Artifact wise, she really wants Arias. I'd be hesitant to raise her if you don't own this artifact. Up at number 4 we have Chaos Sect Axe, which is the awakened version of who we've come to know as Axe God, a 3-star Dark Warrior. This guy is a beast, mainly due to his 3rd skill. Once skill enhanced, it's a 100% chance to reduce the enemy's defense for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, as well as healing himself in the process. His other skills are fine too, with his S2 granting him an extra turn if he defeats an enemy, and his S1 inflicting bleed if it crits. As for gear, you want him built to do damage. This means some combination of crit and attack. Lifesteal is a popular option as well, considering you get some amazing damage dealer pieces from Abyss that happen to be on the lifesteal set. Also helps to keep him alive alongside his self-heal on S3. Artifact wise, there are a lot of decent options. Sigurd's Scythe pretty much makes him invincible outside of getting 1 shot, stacking on any lifesteal set he may have, alongside his S3. Hellcutter is a good alternative in general, so is L's Fist. Alright, we're down to our top 3. If you want to play along, leave a comment with your predictions on who will be included here. I'll give you a second. Okay, let's go ahead. Up at number 3, we have Sid. He is my most recent 6-star, and for good reason. His kit is excellent. He is fast, he's dangerous, and he's actually 2 heroes, because you see that squirrel there? Yeah. He needs tons of crit rate, if not 100% due to his kit, but the hard build is worth it. His S1 gives him a speed boost if he crits, and if he has that speed boost while attacking again, he'll deal extra damage as well as inflict defense down with his passive skill too. His S3 is a massive single target nuke, which, again, if he has that speed buff his S1 provides, he'll also change his element to that of the weakness of the enemy he is hitting. As stated earlier, for gear, he wants a lot of crit, but more speed doesn't hurt either, since his skills scale off of his speed, so some combination of speed and crit would be your best bet. Artifact wise, Dust Devil is amazing for him since he gets extra effects on his basic skill after its first use. Especially since the defense down is only for 1 turn, this may be the best in slot for Sid. Personally, I don't have it and run Rihanna and Luciel. Half the chance at an extra turn, but double the control. Since I have my Sid built with tons of speed, he actually does proc it quite often, even at a 15% chance. Windrider is another good option depending on the content, yes for arena or story mode, less so for hunt and other places where there's only 1 big boss at the end. Up at number 2 we have Lorina. Lorina is actually amazing in many ways. One of the biggest reasons she's so great is that she's not only free, but incredibly easy to get. Awakening her into her commander form is a bit harder and time consuming, but still, free, powerful, and maybe waifu if you're into that, I don't know. With that said, there's nothing complex about Lorina's role. She's there to mess shit up, purely damage and combat readiness, nothing more, nothing less. She can even get more of that stuff through the extra skill tree she has since she's an awakened hero, much like Chaos Sect Axe. Speaking of Axe God, she wants to be built similar, with some combo of attack, crit, and lifesteal. I personally went with the crit lifesteal combo as far as sets go, and tried to get as much attack as possible via substats and main stats on boots, ring, and necklace. I run the L's Fist on her, which is a good general artifact for damage dealing warriors, but if you have it, Uburius' Tooth is a great option if you chose to go the attack crit set route. And finally, we're coming to the number 1 spot on this list. It's none other than the 3-star bird-raising Earth Knight, Falconer Clury. After one of my friends told me about how he's been using her to beat the 80th floor of Abyss, I had to take a good look at her. She has lots of utility, being a self-sustainer with her second skill, granting 5 to 10% HP recovery every turn, a very nice third skill that, once skill enhanced, has a 100% chance to not only reduce the enemy's defense for 2 turns, but also provoke the enemy for 2 turns. It does have a bit of a long cooldown at 5 turns, but again, through skill enhancing, that can be brought down to a much better 4-turn cooldown. And her first skill is much like Lorina's, a simple but nice combat readiness increase for herself. As far as gear is concerned, since she has naturally high speed for a tank, and you want that utility out of her, a speed set is strongly recommended. From there, you can give her an HP set for extra tankiness, or a hit set to land her third skill debuffs more consistently. For artifacts, again, Arius is very good for tanks in general, but if you happen to have Elbrus Ritual Sword, that's great as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the top 10 free-to-play heroes in Epic 7. I do know that a lot of the artifacts that were recommended aren't very free to play, some are 4 and 5 star in there, but well, you know, who knows what anyone has. There will always probably be 3-star replacements that'll work until you get them, and artifacts are technically more common than heroes, so But anyway, if you want another list like this that maybe includes just like the pay to win heroes, or basically all the ones that were left out of this one due to being 5-star or 4-star Dark and Lights, make sure to tell me in the comments below. Also, if you have any other thoughts, you can drop them down there as well. And, you know, leaving a like if you did happen to enjoy, as always, greatly appreciated, yada yada. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.